Hello and welcome to another episode of On The Watch, where we don't let our fandom get in the way of our honest criticism. I'm your host, Maz, and this is my co-host, the slightly lower class version of me, to me, my brother Pesh.
Hey, buddy.
How the heck are you? In this week's episode, we're going to talk about Us, the new Jordan Peele movie. Now, Pesh, this is only his second movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's, even his first movie was a career departure for him.
Mm-hmm.
Get Out, we both loved.
We did.
I think it deserves all of the claim that it received.
Absolutely.
Does Us hold up to it?
Wow.
Right out of the gates, I'm coming to you with the big questions.
Does Us hold a candle to Get Out? As a horror movie, yes.
Okay.
As social commentary, no. Get Out was very sharp.
Get Out was very sharp and was very much more focused.
It was sharp and it was focused, and there wasn't a line that was wasted.
Okay.
This movie is a little, I wouldn't say confused per se. It's a bit ambiguous for ambiguity's sake.
Okay.
It's a fun ride.
Okay. Now, before you go any further, I'm gonna disagree with you right here.
Okay.
I don't think it's ambiguous. I don't think it's ambiguous for ambiguity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a much more ambitious movie.
It is absolutely more ambitious, and it sort of feels the weight of its ambition especially at the first.
I disagree. I think it's, in what it's trying to say, it's much more subtle than Get Out is.
Yeah, sure.
And that's why you might feel that way.
Because I don't understand subtlety.
No, because it's just up for interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And it really depends on what you experience in your day-to-day life to see what themes connect with you more.
Yes.
Where in Get Out, it was definitely about race and race relations in the US and practically all over the world.
But where the movie and the social commentary came together very nicely, especially by the end with Get Out, it did not so much with Us.
Okay. We can agree to disagree there, and we're going to delve into the spoiler section later on, and we can go in depth about that. But yeah, go ahead.
The movie had a lot going for it. I feel like the third act sort of is problematic. Made me like the movie less.
Okay.
I was really loving the movie in the first two acts. Lupita.
Lupita Nyong'o, MVP.
Good God.
How does one do this?
I knew very little about the movie. I knew that I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but it's the marketing. So I knew there's some sort of replicas at work here.
Yeah, you see that in the trailers.
Yeah, you see that in the trailers. I didn't know anything. I just seen the poster and some thumbnails, basically.
Okay.
Lupita made a Tom Hardy choice.
She definitely made a choice.
And that voice. That was some Tom Hardy move. That was some Tom Hardy choice on that voice, and I loved it. Her acting was amazing.
She was amazing.
She was so subtle.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is Jordan Peele is an extremely confident filmmaker.
It's crazy, right?
And his
second movie.
Not only confident, but competent.
Like, how?
Yeah. He really.
He knows what he wants, and he actually executes it.
Yes.
It looks gorgeous. The movie just looks beautiful. I think the whole family is great. Vincent Duke is doing one of the best at on screen.
Vincent Duke reminded me a lot of Jordan Peele.
Okay.
I felt the whole movie that he's a Jordan Peele surrogate.
Okay.
He even talks like him.
He does.
Have you seen any of the Key and Peele?
Yeah, some of them.
Shows?
Yeah.
And that's basically how Jordan talks.
Okay.
He even has the long, yeah.
Okay.
He sounded a lot like him.
Okay.
And I felt like he was playing Jordan Peele's surrogate. He was very fun. Fun dad.
Fun dad.
The kids-
Remind me a lot of me.
Yeah, sure, of course.
No,
Yes,
seriously.
yes. the kids were great.
It's really hard to get good kid actors.
Yes.
These were amazing. These were excellent kid actors.
Mhm.
And
They were great actors. The dynamic, the writing was on point. And the family dynamic was great. The co-stars were also amazing. And we had
Elizabeth Moss. Yeah, she was great.
She was wonderful.
Everybody was having so much fun, though.
Everybody was having a lot of fun.
Jordan Peele's is starting to remind me a lot of early M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like Jordan Peele is what the potential of M. Night Shyamalan could have been.
I liked early Shyamalan.
I liked early Shyamalan as well, but I think Jordan is just a more honed and perfectionized version of that.
Mm-hmm.
The way he plays with his themes in that subtlety, I don't think M. Night does as subtly.
No, probably not.
M. Night is very on the nose.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that if it's done well, but I just prefer how Jordan just chooses to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me a lot of early Hitchcock as well.
Yes.
And I think he actually strives to be that way. You can see it in the way he shoots stuff, the way he uses the light in his movies.
The camera movements.
Just everything about it. I think he's a very competent filmmaker. Definitely one I'm seriously looking forward to what his next projects are gonna be.
Absolutely.
And the movie has a lot of themes. Like, it spoke to me on many different levels. We're gonna get into it in the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, as far as Jordan Peele movies go so far, I think it's a better made movie than Get Out is. I think it has better pacing. I think it's a straight up horror movie where Get Out was not.
No.
But I do have to say Get Out was a better movie on the whole.
Yeah. Get Out is the better one. But I absolutely recommend this movie.
Yeah.
It's a must-see.
Two movies could not be any more different.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just insane to me. I know he wants to play in that genre field.
Yeah.
But still, both being horror, thriller, and both having like social commentary, still two vastly different movies.
Yeah. There are some of the same themes at play, though.
Such as? Can you say that without spoiling anything right now?
No.
Good talk. Alrighty. Now, that being said, we're going to delve into a more in-depth discussion with spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie, please watch the movie. This is one you must watch. I know it's doing great at the box office.
It's a unique movie.
It's a very unique movie. And after Avatar, James Cameron's movie, this is the highest grossing original IP.
That is true. I've heard that too.
Good for Jordan Peele, man.
Good for Jordan Peele.
Good for Jordan Peele. He deserves it, and this movie deserves it. Now, we're going to delve into a much more in-depth discussion about Us with spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie, go ahead and watch this movie. This movie deserves to be watched on a big screen. Come back when you're finished. And if you don't care about spoilers, which I hope you do, you can keep watching and enjoying. Now, Pej, as we said earlier, this movie plays in a big pool of themes. What did stand out to you? What did you pick up?
The class division is a big theme.
It is.
Not only in the grand scale of things, and also in the tiny, minute details. Because the Lupita's family, I forgot what they're called, were upper middle class.
There were.
But there was still a divide between how they felt with their friends.
The Elizabeth Moss family.
Elizabeth Moss's family.
Okay.
There was definitely a divide there between them and how their social structure
and interactions
worked. And And also the amount of wealth that they possess.
Yeah. There was also a very, very like subtle hint at envy that the Winston Duke's character felt.
Definitely.
He said, the guy from another family bought a boat.
Yeah.
And he'd so
also,
desperately want to show off with his boat.
Also the backup generator.
Yeah.
And the car. There was a lot of envy and, hey, we're upper middle class, but they still got it better than us.
Yeah.
You know? There was some of that. The biggest theme that I picked up on is the social structure you've been brought up into. Mm-hmm. That we're all basically the same. We're all capable of committing heinous things and being terrible people, but that's just a part of our nurture, which is important. You can be the same person, grow up somewhere else, with a different viewpoint and different morals, and you can just be a terrible murderer, basically. But that we all have this dark side that some of them get nurtured and some of them don't.
Okay. And I think it's more than nurture. I think it's part of our nature as well.
That part of our nature and
part of our human nature is to be scared of the other and therefore treat them less than.
Definitely. The race thing still is at play here.
Okay.
It's way more subtle.
Okay.
But there's a lot of tiny details of a black person being aware of the social a black person being aware of the stereotypes of a certain kind of black person and playing into that. There's a scene, for example,
with a baseball bat.
Okay.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
He becomes thuggish, whilst his character is totally not like that. He went to a prestigious school and he's a very nice guy, and you don't see him doing that at all. But he's like, yeah, I'm gonna play into that and see where I get with it. And there's also there's another scene that I enjoyed and thought this probably is some sort of a commentary as well. Is with when the song "I Got 5 on It" came on the radio. That sort of it is a lot of, especially old school rap music, was about violence and drugs, but there's still good music, and these parents grew up on that.
Yeah.
And they want to protect their children from the real themes of the songs.
Yeah. But they're also in denial.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. There's another subtle race scene, which was
the keys.
There was the keys. No, that's in most of the in Get Out and in Us. Usually the scenes are the stereotypes the black people, the black community gets, and he plays around with that, Jordan Peele. But there was a subtleness, a subtle hint at we do racist stuff too.
Yeah.
And there was when Elizabeth Moss's character was talking to Lupita on the beach. Lupita was doing this very, very California girl. Yeah, and she was like just not paying that much attention, not giving her time of the day, and she was definitely doing an California girl accent there that you usually associate with the white California women, Caucasians. Yeah, exactly. So there was that, and also the key thing.
The keys. What kind of white people shit is that? Yeah.
The key thing
was funny though.
That was funny. Well, what other themes did you pick up on?
Well, the movie is about how we look at ourselves as individuals and how we look at ourselves as a collective. We are brought up with a lot of, sometimes it's in the family, sometimes it's in nationality or pride we take in a city we were raised in. Just because we were raised a certain way or in a certain area, we view ourselves as superior.
Yes.
And this movie nails that greatly.
It's a huge commentary on America and the state of being of America, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it was another thing I picked up on. Sorry to interrupt you.
You did.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just remembered that the America theme, that this is Americans that with each thing that you gain in your life, it's successes that you have, somebody else is
Has to
suffering
suffer.
for it.
Yeah.
Suffering for it. And then it's gonna catch up to you.
Yeah. That was my second theme.
All right, sorry. But what I noticed is that Jordan Peele is trying to say that this is gonna catch up to Americans. Because there's a certain scene that Lupita's doppelganger, the Red, specifically says, "We are Americans," and your sins, your whatever given up and done for a good life, is gonna catch up with you. And what do the Americans do then? They escape to Mexico, and that was a hilarious scene to me. Then that they were like, "Let's go to Mexico," the country that they've been walling off.
Yeah, there were a lot of wall imagery in the movie.
A lot of wall imagery. The country that they've been walling off, they're like, "Let's escape to that."
Yeah.
And then you also have of course, the hand in hand literal barrier.
Well, to come back on that point, it is about America, and there's a reason why they are wearing red jumpsuits. I think red is a very politically charged color. The Republican Party is red. And as the presidential race was going on, Hillary at some point called them the deplorables.
Okay.
And that's setting yourself as a superior. And not to pick sides here, that's just a wrong thing to do in general, no matter what side it comes from. And as a people, you could feel yourself attacked and unseen. And that's why I think she said, we are Americans. Like, okay, we don't live the certain way. We don't have the same values as some of you do. But we still live here and it should be seen and treated as such. And that's just a perfect allegory for class system within a country, not only politically, but also financially, the haves and have-nots. It does point at us, really. Everybody wants to be successful, but everybody's privilege and gain is going to come at somebody's expense.
Yes. It's a way better way of saying what I was going to say.
And it's not always your intention. Everybody goes into something with the best intentions in mind. There are evil people out there who don't have the same sensibility. But you just want to do good for you and yours. You don't want to hurt anybody in the process of that.
Yes.
But that's unavoidable sometimes. And it's just holding a mirror at us and basically asking us to realize that and maybe take some accountability for it. This is very timely, since we're raised to fear one another by the political polarizing way of leading, by the media, because subtle stuff don't sell. They're not sexy.
Yes.
You have to divide and just let people fight about it. I think there's a great theme about it in that as well. There are a couple of things that I picked up and I haven't read anywhere else as well. There's an allegory for an online persona in it as well.
Okay.
Because anonymity gives you carte blanche.
Yeah.
And you can be as terrible as you want to be to people who you don't know. But what stood out the most to me was the way Jordan Peele was basically asking us to untether from the status quo, and that way we can become our own person. I love that about it. But you know what the movie was promoting the most?
What?
What's Vin Diesel's favorite word, Pesh?
Family.
This movie was about a family at its core. It's about survival, how we handle ourselves, and the
home
role.
invasion, man. That is just it's
scary.
The scariest thing ever.
It is the scariest thing. But it's about how everybody in a family has their own role, and there's a dynamic within every family in which everybody is aware of, but they don't notice it on day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Until something drastically happens, and everybody, like especially in the functional family, it just gels together. And it made me hopeful for the future of my family, for instance, because I see quirks and like little characteristics in my kids, and it just made me hopeful. I know this probably wasn't intentional. If it was, the better. But it spoke to me on that level as well.
All right.
And also, like, even post-movie, he has language in the movie that just lives with you for a long time, and it becomes part of the pop culture. Like, the sunken place is a thing now. Like, when people want to discuss something and they want to say something is oppressed, and he has that mentality, they just say he's in a sunken place. That's a part of our language now.
Talking about language.
Yeah.
You're not done yet, sorry.
It's a part of our language now, and I think this movie has that as well. I think there's gonna be a lot of "I got 5 on it" references from now on. That song is definitely gonna come back. I think there is gonna be a lot of what kind of white shit, what kind of white people shit is that? I think that like a lot of language he uses in his movies are gonna influence how we use our language in the future.
Talking about language, I think that's a very important theme I forgot to touch up on. And it's very funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's very noticeable to me that the shadows, the tethered shadows, cannot speak. And there's a certain, because of the social climate they've been brought up in, they lack the ability to communicate how they feel. So they turn into violence.
It's very primitive.
Very primitive. And
Caveman style.
No, I wouldn't say caveman style. Isn't it sort of saying like, not excusing other people's crimes, but it's saying it's understandable that, you know what I mean?
I haven't looked at it that way. But yeah, you make a great point.
It's not excusing other people's crimes per se, but it's trying to put you in their shoes for a moment, that they've been through a rough life. They don't even have the means to communicate how they feel. And the only way they know how to get it across is by violence through basically a messiah figure who can lead them into greatness, into the better worlds.
You just blew my mind, Pish.
That was red.
I didn't see the religious aspect to it, the religious allegory in it. But yeah, the way you say it, it makes sense.
There was another scene when Lupita and her son were on the bed. She said, "I will protect you always from terrorists," and another thing. I think it was home invasion even. And it was hilarious to me why she would mention those two. Why would you just mention terrorists and that? Yeah. And that's because, first of all, that's one of the biggest fears of America. Second of all, is because that's what the movie is sort of also about. Basically mass terror. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I love the fact that you touched upon the whole, you can disagree with somebody but understand where they're coming from. I think like that's the gray area we don't live in anymore. Our answers towards each other are way more binary and way less thoughtful than it used to be. Like, it's either white or black, there's no in between. But you can be like, you know what, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from, and therefore I have empathy. Yes. And it's a great theme. It's an amazing theme. I think it's not only religion, it's different cultures, because there was also that Red had a sort of arranged marriage. Yes. Because she was like, you chose your knight in shining armor. Abraham was pushed upon me or something like that. So basically she got into an arranged thing. She didn't want it at all. And then she had these children that she hates. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think of the twist?
I hated the twist.
Which one?
That Nyong'o was a clone all along. Yes. I hated that twist.
I liked it.
No.
Did you like the cloning facility? That's also a twist.
I did like the cloning facility.
You know what I also noticed, talking about the cloning facility, is that it's funny that our ghosts our past deeds and sins that come back to haunt us come from a place that in the 80s, where the movie started, was very referential to Native American imagery. That Hall of Mirrors.
Okay.
It was all. I think it even had a Native American name. I don't remember what it was exactly, but then at the end of the movie, when they go back to that place, it's been remodeled, but everything is the same inside and everything.
Just the exterior.
The exterior isn't even changed.
Okay.
They just put a new plank on the name.
Oh wow.
To show like what little effort has been done to bury our misdeeds, basically. And that's it will catch back.
I got goosebumps, man.
That's also something I picked up on.
The colonialism.
Yeah. So the cloning facility is basically a place that our sins come out and just destroy us.
What I noticed about the cloning facility as well is when she was going down on the escalator.
Yeah.
There was only escalator down. There was no escalator up.
Yeah.
And I think this could be a perfect metaphor for the class system as well. It's really easy to get down. It's just impossible to get up.
Yeah, it's good point, because I did notice also there's only escalators down and she was looking up.
Yeah, there was nothing there.
Oh, like, she's gonna get up there. She's gonna run fast, I guess.
And
but I did notice also that there's only escalators there.
And also, like we were talking about how Nyong'o made a choice with a voice. Yes and no, because like especially after the twist, we found out that the clone basically choked her. So her vocal cords could just be damaged.
Yeah, but it's still a choice, man. I thought it was amazing. I really like the twist. I don't... Which is the second twist, sort of. The first twist is that there is this cloning facility.
Yes.
I'm not big on that one.
Okay.
It's a very symbolic thing. A symbolic plot point, basically. But I did like the twist of Red being the real Lupita. Other than that, what made me like the twist a lot is the dance scene.
Okay.
And they were sort of showing that your first couple of years in the world are the most important ones. And that's what made Lupita special. Because she even said it, we were special. And I was thinking, how are they special? They just got switched. But there was a definite focus on the dance scene. And it's because... and Red called it as a miracle. But the real Lupita, which turned out to be the fake one, in the beginning of the movie said, I peaked at 14. So she never got past that point. And why is that? It's because Red stopped dancing. She danced that one time to perfection. And then she realized she has this connection. And after that, she went on with her plan to escape.
Okay.
So she never danced again. So basically saying that all the talent and the goodness lies with the one that goes up above. You know what I mean? And that you're definitely enamored and a step below that might not ever be reachable. If you've grown up in your first couple of years in a very destructive and lower class
society,
you might never be able to catch up again, because Lupita could never dance again, because
guilty fit of God, no
because Red has stopped dancing.
Yeah,
that talent came from her.
Yeah, not from her clone,
because she had that passion and
but also like the exact opposite of it is like the clone came from the underworld to our world, right? And there's a refugee metaphor
absolutely
there to be had for sure. And it really showed that, okay, even if you come from, somewhere where it's not prosperous,
doesn't matter.
You still can thrive if you were put in a good position.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't you think that the twists and the social commentary sort of took over the points he was trying to make the movie? It sort of played against each other. There was the horror movie and there was the social commentary, And it just didn't intertwine that well for me. Especially with the part that Red had to explain. There was literal a scene of her just explaining things.
But there's that scene in every horror movie. There was that scene in Get Out as well where they had to explain everything, the exposition dump.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, exposition dumps cannot be done well, but you have to do it at some point. So I forgive it for that. I think the main reason why Get Out works better is that Jordan Peele didn't leave it up for interpretation. He had something very specific to say, and he wanted to say it in the way he wanted to say it. And this one, he wanted to hold the mirror back at us. That's why the movie is called Us. So it had to be up for interpretation.
But I think in terms it's a bit messy.
It makes it a less clear movie.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with ambiguity and clearness. It
makes it a less clear movie. I agree with that. But I kind of like my movies more ambiguous towards the end. This way it gives me a chance to think about the movie and just find out what it meant to me. But yeah, this movie is gonna stay with me for a while.
Absolutely.
I am definitely gonna rewatch it. It worked on the horror level. It was scary.
Oh man, the home invasion stuff really got me on edge.
It's a movie that is iconic. It has a lot of iconic scenes as well. I just could not recommend this movie more. It's by far the best movie we've had this year.
I could agree with that, yes.
Now, Pish, do you have any other thoughts or remarks about this movie?
What did you think of the soundtrack, by the way?
I loved
Amazing, right?
It's hard to believe that it's his second soundtrack of a feature-length movie.
That anthem from the opening of the movie, amazing. And the classical version of I Got Five on it while she was dancing.
What I really loved about the theme song as well, it was classical mixed with a lot of like modern instruments, but also very tribal. In theory, on paper, it shouldn't work, but the way he made it work was just amazing.
It was pretty great.
Very moody.
And the imagery. What do you think of the imagery of I'm being an interviewer now?
Yeah, that's fine. You're my co-host for that page.
No, I'm your permanent guest. But
okay.
The imagery of the scissors and the red, pretty iconic.
It's pretty iconic. It's very much along the lines of the Scream.
I see where you're getting at.
Picture, the Scream persona. It's very along the lines of Chucky even. But yeah, I think this is going to be an instant classic.
It is an instant classic for sure. I think it's pretty easy to market this movie because of that.
Yeah.
It's very intriguing.
But then again, I think Jordan Peele is not only a great filmmaker, he's also a mastermind in marketing.
Absolutely.
Like both movies he made so far had great marketing campaigns behind them.
I wouldn't know because I don't check out marketing.
But these red posters with the scissors were everywhere.
Yeah, those I've seen.
I think this movie is gonna grow even more on us as we watch it multiple times. But yeah, I cannot recommend this movie more. Just go out and watch this. I know I'll be supporting Jordan Peele with any project he has from now on as well.
Sure.
And this brings us to the end of this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow. And help us become a community. We'd like to keep this a safe place for discussion. So leave your comments below and we'll answer as much as we can. Thank you. See you next week.